This large metropolitan is the capital city of Indonesia, at least for now. Jakarta, a massive metropolis filled with history, culture and modern developments. As the nation's political and economic center, it has long stood as Indonesia's most important city. However, with ongoing plans to relocate the capital to Nusantara in the coming years, Jakarta's future status remains uncertain. While it remains Indonesia's capital today, we cannot tell how long that will last. That's why we're on a mission to explore and visit Jakarta while it remains the capital of the land of 1,000 islands. Accompanying me this time is my international colleague and our good friend Genter from Indonesia's Ministry of Culture.
So is this where you work?
Yes, it is.
From that part, until that part, is the whole complex of the three ministries in Indonesia. Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Education for primary schools, and Ministry of Higher Education. So it's a huge complex.
We couldn't have found a better person than Genter, a person deeply knowledgeable in art and culture, to show us around the city, try the food, and explore Jakarta's vibrant culture scene. Immediately after my flight from Hanoi, we headed to the famous Cafe Batavia, located in Jakarta's old town, Kota Tua, for a quick lunch. The cafe is housed in a historic 1830s building, so you can see the colonial architecture along with some elegant dining halls. A first stop for me to get a quick glimpse of Jakarta and Indonesia's history once colonized by the Dutch. We were seated by the windows with views of Fathahillah Square. A perfect scene for me to enjoy my first ever meal in Jakarta. Soto Betawi, beef offal soup with diced tomatoes and slice of fried potato. We discussed the history and culture scene in Jakarta and how our work has been closely connected, me being in Vietnam and my good friend Genter in Indonesia. I first met Genter in a much more formal and official setting when we attended an event in Bali a few years ago, organized by the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia. Then in 2024, that ministry went through a restructuring, separating cultural affairs from education, which led to the creation of a separate Ministry of Culture, and that's where Genter works now.
Previously, it's only one ministry, but then under current administration, they split this one ministry into three different ministries with a different portfolio. The first one is Ministry of Culture, the second is Ministry of Primary Education, and the third one Ministry of Higher Education.
The reason for this split between education and culture is because the new administration under the current president would like to focus on culture as a distinct pillar of development. It also follows the implementation of Law No. 5 of 2017 on advancement of culture. And that makes sense. Art and culture game is strong here in Indonesia. The National Museum of Indonesia offers a glimpse into the history and incredible cultural diversity of this nation.
My hometown is here. It's my hometown with the big temple of Borobudur. If you ever heard about it.
I couldn't help but notice the bronze elephant statue standing in front of the museum, which instantly reminded me of Thailand.
This elephant is actually the gift from the King of Thailand, Chulalongkorn, in 1871. And that is why this museum is somehow called Elephant Museum or Museum Gajah in Indonesian words, although we don't have any exhibition of elephants.
I mean, I'd be jealous of Genter's job. Jakarta especially, and Indonesia overall, is full of heritage, from Kota Tua to the Dutch colonial influence, and to the fact that Indonesia itself is such a culturally and ethnically diverse country. Here, I can see that Jakarta is really a true melting pot. Wandering through Jakarta's historic heart, we grabbed coffee at Kanggu Bakehouse, a fine example of the mix of vintage, historical architecture with modern vibes. The cafe is housed inside an old Dutch post office building at Post Blok Jakarta, beautifully restored.
This area previously is a Dutch post office, and now it's turned into like a public space, and people can go here to have a big screen to watch football match or any like movie evening.
This is the kind of artsy, vibing cultural public space that we want to see more in Hanoi. And back in the cafe, the staff are so smiley and friendly. The iced coffee does the job, but the pastry were excellent. Perfectly prepared us for a later walk to Jakarta's most important attractions nearby. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. Jakarta may be much more modernized and progressive than many may have imagined, yet at the same time it carries the typical image of a large Southeast Asian city. Looking from our hotel room, the modern city resembles any large metropolis of a developed society. Skyscrapers spread across districts, large avenues, bridges, and big roads line up in a straight path of non-stop energy and movement, guiding cars through well-planned roads alongside metro lines. Jakarta now looks like the financial capital of the country, if not the entire Southeast Asia region. We also couldn't help but noticing the presence of the new taxi brand in this city, a picture we've become familiar with. Xanh SM, the Vietnamese electric taxi and delivery service with a very signature color of cyan green. Now they're not only in Vietnam but also in Laos, Indonesia and the Philippines. Xanh SM officially launched its electric ride service here in Jakarta on December 18, 2024. The cars surely remind me of the ones back home, except for the driver's seat being on the opposite side. In Indonesia, they drive on the left. As we move through the roads of Jakarta, from mall to mall, looking out from car windows, large corporations, multinational companies and luxury hotel brands seem to dominate the city on a massive scale. Yet, beneath the surface, the city reflects the familiar scene seen in many Southeast Asian metropolis. Poverty exists, temporary shops, and homeless people sleeping on the streets, all lying beneath the grant of its infrastructure. However, regardless of social class, Jakarta remains generally safe for everyone, at least from my observation. The two worlds of Jakarta coexist. As you step into any shopping mall, the grand and polished atmosphere immediately shines in your face. Another level of fashion, lifestyle and modern living. I feel like people don't talk about this enough, but the malls here are on another level. The reason is simple. In a place where it's hot all year round, people need air-conditioned space to gather. Jakarta has an overwhelming number of malls. All of them are grand, modern and lavish. And just like how the malls are super cool or how the culture is so rich and diverse, the food in Indonesia, man, is seriously amazing. So much flavor. I couldn't get enough of it.
So this one is the Balinese style satay with chicken. This one is Japanese beef satay.
Goes very well with the sweet sauce. It's got a bit of peanut, right?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Peanut sauce with soy sauce and then some herbs.
This one is also really good.
This is chicken Balinese style. They put some Balinese sambal on top of it. We have that in Bali. And this is
Just have the Balinese food.
So for Balinese satay, most likely they will just use chicken.
Is it because in Bali they're Hindu?
Yeah. They would never use beef due to religious belief that they cannot use beef as a choice of meat, and they also do not use pork as satay because they say that pork meats that's not suitable with the way they cook the satay with herbs and spices and everything. So chicken is the best meat for Balinese satay.
Chicken satay Balinese style, beef satay with sweet dressing, tofu and an egg salad. That was a good lunch.
I'm gonna rate this lunch 10 out of 10.
In the afternoon, we went to Sarina, a shopping mall in the city center to try some jajan pasar. So jajan pasar is a beloved term in Indonesia that refers to traditional snacks and sweets typically sold in local markets. The phrase literally means market snacks, a colorful reflection of Indonesia's rich culture. And then I got to taste one of those Indonesian herbal drinks that Gento said were part of the Jamu culture. In Indonesia, the Jamu culture is a beautiful blend of ancient herbal wisdom and everyday wellness.
So this one is the combination of 3 spices in Indonesia: cardamom, cinnamon, and spices. And this jamu has been included into UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage. So it's part of a global culture element.
So you're supposed to take it slow.
Then when the night came, we had dinner at a place called Nuesaka. There, the satay was soft and the flavor, I feel like, was adjusted a little bit for tourists. Easy to eat, not too strong. In general, such a good meal. Everyone really enjoyed it. Jakarta, a city where rich history, diverse culture and modern innovation thrive together. It's one of Southeast Asia's most dynamic metropolis. Jakarta stands as a testament to Indonesia's progress, and it gives a sense of why Jakarta was selected as the home of the ASEAN's headquarters. Very close to the ASEAN headquarters, just a few hundred meters away, is an area that any young explorer or content creator needs to visit in Jakarta. Blok M, one of Jakarta's most iconic urban districts, now casually recognized more and more as ASEAN Bloc, boasts a vibrant culinary scene featuring dishes from Southeast Asian countries. The area offers everything from vintage book markets and street food festivals to sleek coffee shops and modern art exhibitions. In a harmonious scene of cultures, multicultures and diversity, it's a comfortable feeling wandering around Indonesia's capital city. In Indonesia, Muslim population accounts for about 90% of the population, following by Christianity. The spirit of coexistence is beautifully reflected in this part of Jakarta, where the Istiqlal Mosque, the largest mosque in Southeast Asia, stands proudly just across from the Jakarta Cathedral. It's more than architecture, it's a symbol of mutual respect and unity. The cathedral existed there first, from Dutch colonial era. Then the mosque was built by the first president of Indonesia on the same site. The reason behind this location is because that shows the harmony of religions in Indonesia. They coexist in peace and harmony. And this exact thing is seen through Indonesian society. People are gentle, polite, and sincere. The reason why I say sincere is because you would expect many cities in Southeast Asia having kind, smiley attitude. It's almost expected, but not always a sincere gesture, but rather as a must-do service to please tourists. But in Jakarta, a city with far less tourism context and a multicultural society, where locals may not easily distinguish between fellow Indonesians and tourists from all the Asian countries, so the everyday interactions and non-tourism gestures show that people here are truly, simply polite to each other and to everyone. With a diverse selection of food, I mean incredibly good food, and the politeness of the people, Indonesia is ready to change the minds of those who've never been here and wrap those who have with kindness and make them keep wanting to return. Terima kasih Jakarta. You've been incredible.